I think it was the third one, which I'm now suspecting has to just be a front for like a powerful cult or something. So we're just standing there in the hallway watching this man drill down the door of what is supposed to be our home where we're gonna sleep tonight. We step inside and discover there is already someone living there. Hi guys, how is everyone today? I'm pretty good. So is he. So as you may know, I recently moved from my parents' house in Wisconsin to an apartment with my boyfriend in Maryland. And the move was possibly the most stressful and chaotic situation I have ever experienced in my life. Like, this is a f***ing ride. So today, I'm just gonna tell you guys about it. Obviously, this is different from my usual fashion / DIY type content, but firstly, I just want to fill you guys in on what's been going on with me in my life lately. And also, y'all said you wanted to hear about it. So let's get started, shall we? First, I just want to tell you guys why I was moving to Maryland. It's because my boyfriend is starting grad school out here. So we moved here together, starting a new chapter in life, a new little adventure. It's all very exciting. So several months ago, when this decision was made, we started looking for apartments online. It did kind of cross my mind to go like visit the city before we move and like tour apartments, check out the vibe, you know? But it just seemed so unnecessarily expensive. Like it was like, okay, we already know we're moving there either way. With video tours now, live tours over Zoom, like, we'll be fine. So we started looking for places. We found one that seemed to meet our needs the best. It was reasonably priced. It had mixed reviews, but we figured like, okay, that's true of all apartments. You know, we're not high maintenance. We're not expecting anything fancy. We'll be fine. Do you hear that? Grow up. So at this time, we're motivated by just trying to secure a place and trying to keep the cost down. So we apply. We get accepted, we sign the lease. One thing we thought was sort of weird was that they had us apply and sign separately, like it's a rent owed per person, not per unit. But you know, some places are like that. We figure, well, okay, whatever, that's fine. We can do that. Maybe that's just how everywhere is in Maryland. We don't know. We then sort of realized upon signing that they have not actually assigned us a unit yet. So we call and ask about it, and they say it's because they have this roommate matching. That's also why the leases are separate, so people can apply separately and then be matched up to be roommates based on, you know, compatible lifestyle. Why this meant they couldn't assign us a unit when we already knew we were living together, I don't know. But we were just kind of like, okay, whatever. They'll let us know, we'll figure it out. The move is still several months out at this point. Fast forward several months. We're supposed to move in a couple weeks. We receive our unit assignments, and they are not together. We are assigned to 2 different units, presumably sharing a bedroom with strangers. So we call them, they tell us they'll take care of it. Nothing happens. We call them again. They're like, yeah, we got it, all good. Nothing happens. This repeats maybe 5 times over the course of a week or so. We are becoming increasingly panicked, but we're also both like very confrontation avoidant, you know? We're the kind of people to be like, okay, yeah, totally, great, thanks. Do we have a house? No? Okay, no worries if not. Luckily, I have a powerful sister who I turned to for advice and venting. And she was like, oh my God, you have to call them and email them and just keep bugging them about it over and over again, being like, this is completely unacceptable. We're moving in 4 days. I need confirmation now or I will need to take further action. Shout out Mary Kay, very motivational. So finally, when it's like 4 days until we're supposed to leave, I call and email saying basically exactly what I just said. Very assertive of me. And what do you know? Within an hour, I had a call back and an email giving me confirmation that we were listed for the same unit. Turns out being a demanding bitch is an important life skill to avoid ending up on the street, apparently. So we've made it past the first boss. Is that how this works? I don't game, but I'm sticking with this. We beat the first boss. And at this point, we are feeling very relieved. We're like, okay, everything's good. We have a place. We're in the same unit together. We're ready to go. Finally, 4 days later, the morning is here It's moving day. We're stressed, you know, we have a lot to do, but we're ready. We're energized. We're excited. We're like, let's begin our little adventure. So we're scheduled to pick up our rental car at 2 p.m. At about 10 a.m., I realize you need a credit card to pick up your rental car. The credit card must belong to the primary driver. I am listed as the primary driver, and I do not have a credit card. Should I have seen this on the paperwork beforehand and remembered to get a credit card like 2 weeks prior so we wouldn't run into this problem on the day of? Yes, of course. But you can understand how I was a little preoccupied with the whole not having a place to live thing. So cut me a little slack. So now I'm frantically Googling, can you get a credit card in a day? No. They can give you a card number, but you can't get the card until a little bit later. Can you use a credit card number to pick up a rental car? No. You need the physical card. Is there any way I can do this without a credit card? No, there's not. At this point, I'm like losing it. I'm crying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm ruining everything. I'm freaking out. We're not going to be able to move because of my stupid mistake. And we're going to be out $300 and we're just going to be trapped here in Wisconsin. I'm panicking. But then it occurs to me, if I can't pick up the car as a primary driver without a credit card, maybe somebody else could be the primary driver who does have a credit card. And my dad was home, so I asked him. I later learned Preet also owns a credit card, but I wasn't sure if he did. And he wasn't at my house. Oh, excuse me. Was there a way to just call somebody or go online and change the name of the primary driver? No. Of course not. Why would they let you do that when they could instead have you call around between the rental company, the booking company, and a third company whose role I'm still not really clear on, asking each of them if they could possibly help you, each of them just telling you to call a different one and increasingly stressing you out until you were having to recover from breaking down into tears in between each call while the impending departure time just gets closer and closer. That seems like a perfectly reasonable way of doing things. Finally, someone at one of these companies, I think it was the third one, which I'm now suspecting has to just be a front for like a powerful cult or something, but they were able to get the primary driver name changed. And thank God, because we need to go pick up the car like 5 minutes ago. So we're rushing, but we've beat boss number 2. I'm really rolling with this and I have no idea if it is right. It makes sense. So now my dad has to go pick up the car. We have to drive to Preet's house, get all of his stuff in the car, get him in the car, say bye to his family. We go to my house, we get all my stuff. We pack everything meticulously into this 4-door sedan. It's crammed in every nook and cranny. It's a math problem, okay? And then we have to say bye to my family. So, as I mentioned earlier, we had to pick up the rental at 2 p.m. I guess because there was like a certain kind of car we wanted at the time we booked it, and we could only get it at that time for that certain price, and we were like, let's just do it. It's fine. We only have to drive the first half in one day. We can leave at 2. It's fine. First of all, if you're picking it up at 2, you're not leaving at 2. Turns out driving around, picking up people, picking up stuff, packing a car, and saying goodbye to your beloved family members who up until now you've shared a house with and will now be living across the country from, it takes a couple hours. So we don't actually roll out until about 5 p.m. And we have to drive 7 hours to get to our stay for the night, which, by the way, was the lovely home of lovely friend of the channel, and of myself, Kathleen, of Kathleen Illustrated. That was definitely a wonderful silver lining of this insane experience. We got to meet for the first time. She and Gus and Kashi were very gracious hosts. The downside, of course, was that we did not arrive there until, as you probably could have guessed, about 2 a.m. local time. We also realized during the first leg of our trip that the management's office hours for this college town move-in weekend were not extended at all. So we had to get there before 4 p.m. to pick up our keys before the office would close, which means we arrived at 2 a.m., we went to bed, we woke up at 6 a.m., we took a shower, and we left, which is so sad. We spent like 5 hours total in that house and most of them were asleep. So yeah, that kind of sucked. But more importantly, everyone say thank you to Kathleen and her household for letting us invade their home at the oddest of hours. Everyone go check out her channel after this. She deserves it. Anyway, okay, next leg of the journey. We get up, we're on the road by 7, and we drive 7 more hours. The driving in an unfamiliar vehicle in unfamiliar cities was also its own little circle of hell. That's not even worth getting into. It's It wasn't interesting, it was just very stressful. This whole experience has also just been like so unhinged and outrageous that like we're joking on the way there, like, oh my god, what if we get there and there's just no building? Like, what if we get there and they just don't have a unit for us? Just you wait. Finally, at like 3:30 in the afternoon, we arrive at the building. There is a building. So that's great news. We go into the office, we tell them who we are, they locate the keys, and they bring us up to unit 622. We take a key, try it in the lock. It doesn't work. Take all the other keys on the little key ring. Try those in the lock. None of them work. Why this was first being discovered with us on move-in day, I couldn't tell you. I always kind of assumed the little gap in when like leases end and the new one starts was so the property management could like go check out the units, clean them, maybe just even check if the doors unlock. I guess I assumed wrong though, because that is clearly not what this property management company was doing. So we go back to the office, they test the keys themselves again. They don't work. These keys do not unlock unit 622. And then they tell us the maintenance team is gonna like come with copies of the keys, make copies of the keys. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking, why would we want copies of these keys that don't work? But like maybe they're copies of other keys that do work that are for some reason at an undisclosed location. Who knows? At this point, all we can really do is sit in the office and wait, which we do for over an hour because apparently, as the property manager said, the entire maintenance team decided to take a break at the same time. I don't know, man. I don't know who's running this place. Eventually, finally, a maintenance guy shows up. We go back up to the unit with him. He pulls out not keys, but a giant power drill. So he's not unlocking the doors. He didn't bring copies of the keys or of any other keys. He's drilling the door open. He is simply taking the drill to the locks, destroying them to try to get them out of the door so the unit can be opened. So we're just standing there in the hallway watching this man drill down the door of what is supposed to be our home, where we're gonna sleep tonight. Honestly, it's already very funny to me now, but in that moment, like little tears are leaking out. We're looking at each other like, oh my god, what have we done? Let's just go back to Wisconsin. Never mind, grad school, not that important, whatever. We're reevaluating every decision we've ever made in our lives leading up to this point. In this moment, we are going through it. Not to mention, we still have to return our rental car in 2 hours. Eventually, he gets the lock off. The door swings open. We step inside and discover there is already someone living there. Now, luckily for us, or maybe unluckily, because if they had been there, they could have just unlocked the door and saved a lot of time. But in some ways, luckily for us, they were not there at the time. But their stuff was there. Someone's stuff was just there, set up. Someone was living their life in our apartment unit, which up until this point was our only plan of where we were going to sleep that night. Honestly, we still don't really know what was going on there. The property management said it must have been a squatter because they didn't have anyone else assigned to that unit and they must have changed the locks and stuff and that's why they wouldn't have a key. But based on my experience with the property management, does it also seem possible that they just accidentally assigned 2 different parties to the same unit and lost the keys? I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. I gotta say though, if it is a squatter, props to them because I have no idea how they pulled that off. Preet's theory is that it was a staff member because who else would have access like that to the building, to the keys, to change the locks? Makes you think, but we have no idea. Anyway, back to us standing in the apartment that we were supposed to spend the night in, which seems to be inhabited by an illicit stranger, and which just had the locks drilled off the door. At this point, they offered us a different unit, or they would just let us out of the lease. That's how you know they f***ed up. We didn't even have to ask. They just offered it to us. We did look at the other unit, but first of all, honestly, it smelled weird. And secondly, we truly could not get the out of there fast enough at that point. Did we have anywhere else to go? No, but at that point, it did not matter. So we opted out of the lease. I would personally call that beating boss number 3. I would say the final boss, because that's supposed to be like the hardest boss, right? But then we had to find a new place to live after this, which like wasn't as insane and intense, but it was the last thing. So like the final boss has to be the last one, right? It can't be the most intense one, and then you have the fourth boss after that. I don't know how games work. Gamers, sound off in the comments. We basically spent the next week staying in a hotel and extending our car rental, looking around online for places, touring different places in person this time. That was a plus. Then we switched to an Airbnb because it was cheaper and we had to return the rental. So we moved all our stuff, packed up into the Airbnb and just like left it in a big pile in the kitchen until we had to move into our actual place, which we did eventually find. And on that day, we just rented a local U-Haul, packed all our stuff back up, and then unpacked it in our apartment where I am now. So that's what I've been up to the past maybe 2 weeks or so. Sorry I skipped a week uploading. I hope you guys understand. Now we're somewhere quite nice. We really like it. It's been great so far. 0 red flags, very functional management, and we're getting settled in. The trickiest thing really is that our original place was supposed to be furnished and this one isn't, so now we have to furnish it entirely ourselves, starting from scratch because we didn't bring any furniture with us. So if anyone has any tips for that beyond Facebook Marketplace and Buy Nothing groups, which I'm already in, if you have any more tips, please let me know. And if you want furniture and decor shopping videos, also let me know because I have been scouring the internet left and right. We've already found a few things from a few different places, like you can see around me. So let me know if you're interested in seeing that journey. I also now have a ton of cross-country moving advice because hindsight is 2020 and now I know what to tell everyone not to do to avoid having an experience like this one, and what we did to successfully find a good place to live after all that. So if anyone wants a dedicated video to that, if you have a big move coming up or you would find that useful, just let me know. Please let me know your thoughts on this wild tale, if you've ever gone through anything like this, and if you have any life advice for me when it comes to settling into a new city that is very far from home. I would love to hear it. I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself now, so would love advice if anyone has done the same. Also, if you liked this kind of just casual sit down story time video, let me know if you are interested in more of these, because I don't know, yeah, this was fun and different. Oh, I also did want to tell you guys my beloved cat Comet, who has appeared in many videos, is the family cat. She lives at my parents' house, so unfortunately she will not be making an appearance in future videos here because she is busy at home living her best life with my mom and dad. Just to let you know, she's not with me, which I'm very sad about, but she's fine. She's at home. Oh, and I heard if you liked the video, leave a comment, send it to a friend who you think might get something out of this, watch another video, and or subscribe to my channel, of course. Nothing like this story will ever happen to you. But if you don't do those things, I'm not saying it's guaranteed that it will happen to you, but like, it might. And do you really want to take those chances?